Can you hear me? Absolutely not. He can't. All
Yeah,
right, bet.
yeah, and
Go
I
ahead,
can
say
hear
something.
you.
Go ahead, say something, bro.
Yo.
All right, bet. So, boom. Everybody, a round of applause. This is Adisa on the phone right now. VA. I know you said don't call you OG. I don't give a damn. I'm gonna call you OG anyway. VA OG. You feel me? Inventor, creator of Tester Mike, curator of Virginia Flex from past to present and into the future, and author of the Flexn manual. I call it an outline, more of a thesis or an outline rather than a manual, because I know I already have the understanding just by reading it. It's gonna be an evolving, it's gonna be an evolving piece of work basically, because while you already on your knowledge, your journey of exploring more knowledge and more techniques, things will be added. I don't see much getting taken out of it, but I do know things will probably be added in the future. And you did mention that it was gonna be multiple parts of it. How you feeling, bro?
Right, right. I'm feeling good, man. It's amazing, son. For real. It's very surreal. Great. Glad to be getting something done. Progress. I feel great.
When you say for real four
How y'all
times in a
doing?
sentence, I know you tired.
Yeah.
All right, so boom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end up arguing on one side of it as soon as we hang up, but I'm gonna keep it brief while we on the phone because I gotta play
Okay,
opposing side to you on the phone. Me and you done spent how many years arguing with each other? Probably like four, 5 years.
Bad, yeah. Right? Yeah.
Fun fact. I spent an hour and a half arguing with this man on the phone before I won the Fatal 4-Way in New York at the Kill Chamber joint. For anybody that
Yeah.
don't give a damn. But what
Yeah.
what put the battery in your back to write this manual?
Tada's and Miho. Tada's and Miho.
Oh, that's different.
I got inspired. Yeah, I got inspired to do this entire thing from Tada's and Miho. So as far as like in general, flexing global, wanting to do something for the culture in that way, definitely Tada's and Miho. But the original blueprint was from the New World concept, Hessian Mike days.
Facts,
So,
facts.
Yeah, so I had the original blueprints from back then, creating a new world for the flex world. But the battery came from watching Crump Inc.
Baby,
and
can you take
watching
the mac and cheese out the oven, please?
online explain his style. So that's what did it.
Okay.
That's why I'm here. Yeah.
So so it was just eyes and Miho. There was nothing. No, you didn't see nothing in the flex world that made you say, "Hey, this is necessary."
Yeah, definitely. It's things that we all been knew and been seeing. Everyone was so goddamn confused. Super confused about the style. The style was all over the place. He was describing, a dance style with another dance style. And so that in itself is just, insanity. I mean, most dance styles, they have their own way of description. You describe something, by explaining what it looks like and what it is. You call it crumping, so you say chest pop, arm swing, stomp, jab, etc. And you say the same thing for another dance style, right? Like Bruck Up, you'll say pivot, shoulder pop, character, and then you'll start naming the Bruck Up moves like Rupert, etc. But then when you say flexing, you say dancehall, Bruck Up, you start naming dance styles, versus, actually naming the components that make up flexing, that make flexing look like flexing. Talking mannerism and body movement wise, not even the elements. They're shared in other dance styles as well, before flexing. So when I seen this problem, in the flex game, I said, you know what, something does need to be done about it, but there was no energy for it. I just knew something needed to be done about it. The energy came from watching Crump Inc.
Ah, okay.
Like 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Boom. You don't feel in any way, shape, or form that it's a little unfair for you to have that viewpoint, knowing that you come from the dance hall background, that you come from the Brucka. Like, the reason why you could look how you look and other people look how they look is because they know those elements. You don't think that's unfair to the new people that's learning?
No, not at all, because the things that became Flexn body movement, yeah, it comes from dancehall, but, you know, it came from dancehall, but it mutated and evolved. So since it's already in its evolved form, there's no need for me to teach it from its original style form. There's no need. It's like I could just teach it as it itself. And one of the greatest things I heard Terry say, I was talking to Terry from Collateral Damage, and Terry was telling me how, we were talking about how other dance styles, how people in the culture say they use dance hall for warm-ups. He said, in Collateral, we use Flexn for warm-up. We just use Flexn itself. There was no need to use any dance hall or brook up, any of those kinds of things, so if
Okay.
people know, the foundation of the dance style, Flexn, the true one, the true foundation, because I can describe what that is easily, and they know the true foundation of Flex dance, they don't need to do the other dance styles that it comes from. It could just use it by itself. No need to. By doing so, you aid into the confusion of the masses. You cause more war and issue between other sides. For example, people are saying they do Flexn, but they do start doing shoulder pops and then dance on heel toes. So that's what gets the buck up community in a frenzy, because then they'll say Flexn, #Flexn. Well, no, right there you're doing buck up and shoulder pop, but then when you go inside those arm waves and head movements and how you carry around yourself and how you do straight line musicality and so on and so forth, now you're flexing, but yet you're still moving. So it was no point for you to even do the buck up with the heel and toe before that. It was pointless. I mean, you have your own body movement, but this is what causes the confusion and the rift and the separation, between these cultures, because Flexn just seems so confused. And I understand, and I understand why. So that's the main thing with me.
And so, I could play both sides of this with no problem, because I think one of the issues is there is a lack of being able to identify, because there is no, I guess in a sense, you can't really go nowhere and look up what this is or what that is, so there was no full delineation between anything. But I would also credit that to the side of Flexn being still a young style, like b-boying, popping, all of these other things. Shoot, even if you go back to clowning, all of these things have derivatives in which you can have a name for something, you have a name for this, you have a name for that. But Flexn, out of dancehall and bruck up, Flexn would still be the baby out of those. So I do err on the side of there should be terminology for it in which you could divvy up between the two, because it's a bunch of people copying freeform movement, calling it Flexn, even though they're doing bruck up movements the whole time. Because I know, me and you both know, bruck up ain't just limited to the shoulder pop, even though it can be an identifier of that. There are people who have, we done seen countless battles of people imitating BSV movements, claiming that they Flexn. But seeing that and just there not being a proper identifier, I gotta give you props for being the person to step out and give the identifiers for it. But what made you feel like you were the person that needed to do it? Because I feel like that's where the majority of the backlash comes from.
Well, I always use the analogy of the poison arrow. If someone got hit with a poison arrow, you're not gonna say, and if you knew, let's say you got hit in your back with the poison arrow, you couldn't reach it, but I was the only person that could reach it and pull it out, and I knew how to successfully take it out. I had the power to do it. You're not gonna ask, are you qualified to do this? Are you the one that has this necessary? Did anyone sanction you to take this poison arrow out of my back? Do you have any credentials or past whatever? Absolutely not. Because your life is threatened, because your life is in jeopardy, you're going to hurriedly tell me, take it out. We see that Flexn is certainly in a, it's certainly on life support, for sure. As far as the dance style goes, the identity, year by year, is being confuddled, confused, mixed up with so many, different dance styles, So, me personally, I have excellent organizational skills, structuring skills, and I have a kind of intelligence. Not only that, I do have the backing and support People like Rocky, for example, who created Flexn in Brooklyn. Tafari, shout out to him as well, which is the son of Flexn itself.
Shout out to
These
Fari.
guys helped create the style. Yep. Asha Frasha, and many other OGs. Even Nugget support what I got going on or whatever like that. I felt I was the one to do it because I have the, intellect to do it. Not necessarily around dance skill, more so. But in that department, I don't have any issues either. That's not even a problem. If they're talking about work or work ethic or whatever like that, they could argue that in the sense of I haven't been around them in particular, like certain people in Brooklyn, a group of individuals in Brooklyn. I certainly have been up there. I've certainly done many street battles. I haven't done a bunch of battle fest battles and stuff. If that's what they're asking, I could give them that. That's fine. But it's better to hire people, it's better to hire the person who has the necessary skills to do the job, whether or not you might agree or think that they should be doing the job or not. They have the skills to do it, let them do it. You're not going to do it. Allow someone else to do it. And that's why a lot of them just said, hey, whatever, do your thing because you're really good at that. That's your thing. That's your way, Tafari say, that's your way of putting in work. What's work is different, in today's time. We don't live in the 90s and early 2000s anymore. And you got to go and pop on 1,000 people in order to, utter one sentence. It's not like that anymore. We live in a different era and time, They say, oh, Adisa was back then. Okay, I'm here now. It is what it is. But mainly, man, the support and the backing, gave me the ability to do it because I wasn't going to do it unless I got the support and backing. And I did get that backing and support, so here I go.
That is interesting. That is interesting, though.
Yeah.
If you weren't going to do it because it... Okay, so what about the support changed the willpower to do it? Because that means you had the idea already. And the Adisa that I know
Definitely.
move regardless of... Now, you are a very calculated individual. I've known you to be very calculated for a very long time now. But if you had this plan already... What about the support validated it? Because, so boom, right? The main concern and the main issue that I know a lot of people will have, because I've been, you know me, I've already argued with people with where you could be ranked or put on any list whenever it comes in. I'll argue and debate with those people all day because I've seen what you can do. But when it comes to you creating something like the Flexn Manual and then doing Flexn Global, there is a piece of uncomfortability that sits over everyone that will say, this person hasn't participated in a lot of these things that had to do with Flexn, but they put their name on the manual, and I don't see how they could do that because your presence has been relatively void in certain realms. I'm not going to say in all realms because you've been kind of you already know, you've been a fire starter in Flexn for quite some time now. You be the person to purposely start an argument amongst a whole page of people and then dip out and then watch the chaos occur amongst everybody else. So if you, with that absence that has been had and that has been felt, because bro, we watched X and Tie-Dye's battle in Georgia and only 10% of the people came there for that battle. The other 90% came there to see you battle Gio, and that's crazy. So if that was your one thing that was abroad amongst the culture, no part of you felt uncomfortable about being the person to jump to the forefront despite your lack of presence, and where maybe a lot of people, even the people that are trying to debate you down and argue you down about it, would have made those people more comfortable. None of that made you uncomfortable in that regard?
No, not necessarily. Originally, the manual was for Flexn Global members, but unfortunately, I got a little too carried away because the reception of the whole concept was really, really good. So, I was getting a lot of support from OGs, so I felt like it was okay to just release the manual. You know what I mean? I thought it was a good idea, but I was wrong about that, and that's okay. Just pick up the piece and continue. Flexn Global is a joint project, so is the manual. It's not Adisa by himself. I did write it, but I got some assistance on some things in it, and Droid and so on and so forth. I got people that are, again, the whole movement is not just me. I did create the idea, came up with it, but as far as the manual goes, I could have went about that differently. I could have did what my original plan was anyway, which was to keep the manual until the third edition. We were going to release it only on the third edition, and after Flexn Global got, a social acceptance and the integrity, trust of the company itself was, firm and established in the culture. So,
I respect the accountability. I respect that. I respect that for sure.
Yeah. But as far as like starting Flexn Global, I don't regret a minute of that, and I'm gonna keep going regardless, because I got approved from the higher ups because it makes sense. It's like, you wasn't around, but you're the man for the job. It is what it is. Other people didn't think of these ideas according to the OG, so they're like, all right, it helps, it works, it's true. What you're saying is a really great argument. Really, it's very sound, and it makes perfect sense. And that is what's happening in the world right now. Flexn does is seen that way that you're saying. So go for it. Go crazy. You got my support. You did do certain things. You did enough. It ain't like you never been around. You never do nothing. You never not learn from the OG. That's not the case at all. You know what I mean? I've had Flex events, of course, brought people to VA.
Facts.
Went to New York myself.
Facts.
Battled myself. Learned from most of the OGs except two of them. The only two I didn't learn from formally was Reg and Nugget. But everybody else, Brian, J. Don, everybody else. My lineage is really powerful, strong. I have connection in the culture. I'm a part of it. I have physical blood now. DJ Blue and his son. That comes from Flexn. So they can't 100%. That's why I'm not getting the crazy flack. I'm getting mostly support. There's a couple people that don't like it, but that's just because I'm not cool with them currently right now. If I was their friends, their judgment would be different. Human emotions always play a role in people's thought processes and decision making. So.
Nah, I agree with that with a lot of people who have absolutely no personal relationship with you. That immediately tried to jump on the hype train. I don't like that.
Yep.
I know a lot of the issue. I know
that's the majority of the disagreeers.
I'm about to say, because there are a select few where it's like certain terminologies and stuff that you use in the manual. A little iffy, a little touchy. But we'll talk about that another time. That's we can cover that on a different day. My last question that I'm gonna ask you, do you think this manual would have been received a little bit different if you hadn't shit the bed when you battled Geo? Cause that first round was dope as hell. All of VA was arguing with New York niggas during that first round, and then after the second and third round, the crowd lost that battle. Y'all both won. The crowd lost because that battle was that battle won it. And you already know. You've spoken about it afterwards where you also weren't. You were disappointed in the battle as well. Both of y'all didn't look that engaged in the battle after a certain point. Do you think if you had lived up to the hype of Adisa in that battle against Geo at the mod, you think the manual would have been received a little bit different?
No, it wouldn't have mattered because at the end of the day, it's all about connection with others. Human connection is always the number one. I learned that, of course, in sales. It's always the number one thing, the number one driver in this experience, So it's all about connection with others more so than anything else. Even if I have won that battle and, absolutely destroyed them, it wouldn't have really made a difference. It's all about, again, the connections that I have to have with the people. They don't even care about me not being from New York. That wasn't even the main concern. The main concern, of course, is the involvement in the culture. But really, it was also their involvement with what I got going on. If I would have reached out to them and put them a part of this whole thing, they would have had no issue with it at all. Because they always supported a lot of things that I've said in the past. Not all of them, of course, but a good amount of them. They were really into my ideas and they liked my, concepts and things like that. So, it really wouldn't have made any difference for real. I mean, look at Crow, right? Crow beats everybody, he still gets paid, really going to matter. It's all about your connection with people. If I was their friend, or cool with them, and I made them, feel good, in some way, and we were close, then it would be be a totally different, situation. But it's precisely because I'm not their friend, and also because they are not included or invited into the situation. Because I've talked to people, about it that had issues with it, and they said that their only problem was that I just didn't reach out to them, and put them in it. But yet they bash me all on Facebook and all of these things. That's just how they are up there. It's their way of wanting to say, congratulating you at first by bashing, and then the whole time they liked you. But they showed that by saying bad stuff about you. It's crazy. Jason, me and Jason talk about that all the time, how they are up there. That concept is just wild to me. So, but that's just how they are. Whatever. I don't take it personal. I get it. I'm used to it by now. But we in our own corner. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. They can be mad if they want. The train will not stop. We will continue forward. I got the right support, right people behind me, and we all gonna do it together. This whole thing is not Adisa. This thing, it's a us thing. So.
All right. Well, shoot. So. Y'all heard it from the man himself. Yeah. Hey, it ain't just him. It's a team. Now, I do think that did turn a lot of people off, that people felt like it was just you spearheading it. But I already knew it was probably more than likely a team effort. Whenever you need to start a movement, you do need a team in whatever direction or however anybody may feel about it. I see both sides of it. I see why certain people may have been turned off by it, but I also see your perspective in it, which is why I figured I'd come to you and ask you direct questions, because I know I'm going to end up asking some other people some direct questions that's on either side of the coin. Hey, bro, appreciate you even picking up the phone and allowing me to have this short conversation. I know I still expect you to be up here at some point in time, whenever it is you find time to be out here for me and Larry to sit down with you and interview you. Hey, bro.
Yeah, of course.
You enjoy the rest of your night, my G. Round of applause for Adisa. Tap, tap, tap. I can't clap for him. All right, buddy.